Hey everyone, excuse this mess right here. I'm filming in my parents' house and this is the weight room, so those are all of our weights. So sorry. Ugh. So today's topic, I have a lot of advice about, and in no way am I like an expert. I went through some of these experiences and they taught me a lot, and it hurt, like my heart hurt because I had gotten emotionally attached. But it makes you stronger when you're able to say no. Sometimes, you know, when I give this specific advice, I think it's just kind of a precaution. Like before you get into a relationship, make sure you're in the relationship that you want to be in. I'll just say it like that. So today's topic is how to know that you are making the right decision when you are about to pursue a relationship. This is a super important topic that I think everyone needs to know a little bit about. Let me just preference this by saying, like, the dating culture that we live in is very, let me go out with like 500 different people, and that's okay, like to go test the waters with a lot of different people. And that's not necessarily my belief, and if you do that, like there's no judgment here. I've made plenty of mistakes before, but I just think, you know, you can be wise or you can be smart before getting into a relationship and then breaking up. You don't get into a relationship ideally to break up. And so I think a lot of people in our culture are just getting into relationships just to fill a void, but not only that, are just getting into it without really questioning it and thinking to yourself, is this okay? I'm just gonna give you guys a little advice about how I would personally go about if I was going to get into a relationship. What are the things, what are the steps that I have done? And I also want to say, like, dating is an important decision that you make. Because our culture is so like, date whoever you want, I would just caution you to be careful. You can be in too many relationships. Like that is a problem. And when you are constantly in relationships, you're giving a little piece of your heart away. And I'm not trying to, like, you know, diss anyone who's in a lot of relationships, but each time you're in a relationship, you're creating an emotional tie between someone. Eventually that's gonna catch up to you. And so the more and more relationships that you have been in will definitely affect, without a lot of counsel and a lot of time, will dramatically affect who you plan to marry, if you plan to marry anyone, or who you plan to have to be a significant other one day. So dating is not just something that you can go, oh yeah, I'll date you. No, like, it's an important decision, and you determining who you date will ultimately determine the next chapter in your life. I would say number one, do not rely on your own emotions. And by that I mean, when you're starting to become attracted to someone, and you guys are talking, then there is already an emotion. There's something emotional, on whether that's just on your end or whether that's a mutual thing. There is something happening where it is an emotional thing. And as soon as you cross the line from being just friends and you have that line, and then you go into, I think of this person in a romantic way, then as soon as that happens, you just have, it's almost like a sheet, like a blurry sheet over your eyes, because you no longer can think rationally about any decisions that you make involving the next steps in the relationship. No, it's I think this person is attractive and I'm attracted to them, and so I'm going to date them. That's a very scary place to be, because you could totally be in a situation where you're about to date someone and that person could be completely wrong for you, but because you're already attracted to them and because you've allowed yourself to talk to them a little bit, then you already grew an emotional thing. And let me tell you, soul ties between people, when you connect emotionally and have deep conversations, that's like a tie from your soul to that person. If you're going to make a decision about dating a guy, try to take your emotions out of it and think rationally about, is this right for me? I would say number two, A big indicator if a guy is not right for you is if none of your friends like him. You need to listen to your friends. Like, they're your friends for a reason. They know you, and they know how you're going to be in a relationship. And so it is very crucial or important to understand that your friends have an opinion on who you should date because they know you. And it's like, don't just ride them off because you've already put your emotions into the relationship, and so they say, no, this isn't a good idea, and then you're like, well, no, I mean, I'm just gonna do it. Like, who are you? Like, you don't know him, blah, 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 blah. Well, they might not know him, but they know you. Number 3, I would say, is extremely important, and that is to, I believe at any age that you are, whether you are in high school or like me, I'm in my 3rd year of college, or, you know, even 40 or 50 years old with kids, married. I think it is extremely important to have people in your life that are older than you, that you go and you seek wisdom from, that you go and you get advice, like that you trust to give you appropriate, rational, sound advice. You know, your friends are just as young as you are, so they have about as much experience as you do. So it's nice to have someone who has had a lot more of experience. And so I would urge you guys to get like a mentor who speaks in your life quite frequently, that you trust enough to go, okay, I like this guy, and yeah, what should I do? Like, they give you advice from a standpoint that they are wiser and that they have lived through some of those same experiences, so they're able to give rational advice without getting their emotions mixed into it most of the time. Number 4, I don't really know how, I guess I would say make sure the odds are stacked in your favor or are not stacked in your favor. And some of these odds would be, do they live in the same state as you? If you are trying to date a guy from Pennsylvania and you live in South Carolina, then it's not gonna work out unless you had a friendship and then you decided to be in a relationship and then he had to move for X, Y, and Z. Unless it's like that, you can't just start out a romantic relationship long distance. It just doesn't work. Another odd would be, do they believe in the same things that you believe in? And you know, something important to me would have to be like, is he a Christian? Does he love the Lord? But what if you're not like that? Does he have similar interests that you have? Do you guys have completely different genres of music, or you like different activities? Because if someone is, let's say a guy is super sporty and you hate going outside, probably not gonna work out. Do you get along with his friends? He's super close to his friends and then you hate them. It's gonna put a wedge between your relationship. This could be an extreme, but I recommend this. Let's say he has dated girls before and you know that. And I don't think there's anything wrong with like looking on social media and to when he had ex-girlfriends and to see how long it lasted. Like, if most of his relationships are week-long, a month-long, like, you will probably be, unless you're an exception, which usually doesn't happen, you will probably be one of those week-long relationships that the guy has. If he seems like he just doesn't have long-lasting relationships, then there's something wrong. These are all red flags. Seriously, take a step back and say, without my emotions getting into it, is this a guy that I just like because I think he's hot, or I just like because he's showing me attention? Or is it a guy that sincerely I think we would be good in a relationship? My mom vacuuming. Don't worry, Mom, we're just filming a video in here. It would just be very wise to look at that before you even begin to like imagine yourself with that person. Let's say something just happened where you just had to cut it off, or you just had to say, you know what, listen, I think we're better friends, or you know, I don't want this to be a relationship. Like, that happens all the time. This is Rich. The #1 indicator that you made the right decision is when, let's say you did cut it off, like you broke it off with the guy, and then a couple days later, a couple days later, or maybe not even a couple days, a couple hours later, you see him on social media talking to another girl. That is the perfect indicator that you made the right decision. Clearly, that guy has no character. Clearly, when he was saying that, oh, you're just going to be the one, and I don't talk to all these girls, and blah, 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 blah. Clearly, that was a lie straight from the devil. It's amazing what guys will do and say just to get in a relationship. Another thing is if you just cut it off and you're feeling kind of down, or you're depressed, or you know, sad, or you miss the attention, like, another thing is just to realize that it's gonna take time. If you invested some time in this and some thought, like, obviously some emotions got into it, and so, you know, take your time. Like, if that means unfollowing him on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, like, if that's gonna heal your heart, then go ahead and do it. It's your responsibility to take care of your heart. So at the end of the day, I can say all this and give you guys tips and advice, but ultimately it's your decision on what you do, and it comes from your heart. It comes from just a peace in your heart that you either have or you don't have pursuing a relationship with this guy. And make sure you're honest with yourself. Don't put it like this where you've gotten emotionally invested in him for a couple weeks and then you try to make the decision, because honestly the decision's going to be you're gonna get with him. We're all meant to desire that and to want a relationship, and that is totally fine. I'm not saying that's not fine. I'm just saying this can save you from a lot of heartbreak. This is like preventing you from not walking down a path that you know you should not go down. Okay, so I think I'm done giving advice. If you guys liked this video, then give it a big thumbs up. Please subscribe if you want to hear more advice or just see me more. Okay, bye.